the turnaround bring the tribes from over here, you accepted reparations and said it had nothing to do with you. It's taking the dollar and so that you can forego 100 million. It's a deceptive fraud in our face so that we there's no way they can give us reparations because they owe us everything already. There's nothing they can give us to reparate that.
No,
they can't repair that. Only thing they can do is give us what's rightfully ours, and they gonna be broke. Look,
don't have to put no
if you go and investigate, they had no right to trade in our resources. They could only stockpile and borrow money against them. They've been floating. Listen, they've been floating their legal fiction economy off money borrowed against our asset. Exactly. The national debt is owed to the tribes.
That's right.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
Right. So that is just to facilitate government. But we was wealthy before they came.
You probably
so
right.
We just trying to get the land and the wealth of the land back, and they trying to give you reparations to forego that.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Instead of taking what you rightfully deserve and what's rightfully yours, I'm gonna give you a payout so that when anybody come for what's rightfully yours, I already paid you. You've been reparated. To add to that, when you review all of the people that the United States government gave reparations to, there's a common denominator. All of them tied back to a operational corporate government somewhere in the world, right? This government had a lobbying body that fought for their people that was in the Americas to receive the reparations payout. The prime example was the Japanese that was held in internment camps during World War II. As part of the settlement of World War II, the peace treaty, they gave reparations to those, not just Japanese. They had some Chinese mistaken as Japanese in those internment camps too. But they didn't give them reparations. They only gave the Japanese reparations because it was part of a negotiated contract between two corporations to settle a war. We talking about the reparations. First of all, their money is legal fiction. It's fiat. That means they said it has value. Ever since 1933, when they took us off the gold standard, their money has no value. Right. It's only valuable as long as they can use it to trade oil. Right. Well, the BRICS nations then damned them on that dollar. So now their reparative dollars have no value to the tribes. Our wealth is tied to the land. Give us what's rightfully ours, and you can take your monopoly money and wipe your ass with it. Right. But if you accept the monopoly money, what they are in turn saying is, I'm from another land and I got a lobbying body that represents me on that land in the treaty negotiations to give me a reparations for the conditions you put me in. My question becomes, if you're going to receive reparations, which African nation that you say you came from has a lobbying body lobbying to get you your reparations? The only way, because the reparations is tied to your African slave trade identity. It's not tied to your indigenous status to the land. Right, because they was never supposed to cross the Appalachians to begin with.
Exactly.
It was the Lewis and Clark expedition that crossed them over into the West. It was the Mexico-American War that gave them control of California down to Texas.
Right.
Right. Notice there was a war. Right. The land that they held in treaty is the result of the resolution of a war. All this stuff is to disassociate the people from the land. Yeah. If we reclaim the land back, all of them, we was in a warlock. Right. This is what put us in poverty. Right?
You know,
the warlock. We have to remember how they got the land from those tribes in the South.
I'm glad
our people spoke mostly tribal tongue in the South during the 1800s. We knew to the language called English, and we totally ignorant to the language called legalese. They draw what's called the sharecropper agreement. The sharecropper agreement was being forced as a squatter right. Right. So they come in and they lend the farmer money.
Right. Not just that, tools.
And when they couldn't pay the money back, they took the land.
They didn't make
no, not yet. First, they'll give them a good crop. They'll let them get a good crop. This make them believe that the one holding the agreement with them is honorable and will cover what they said, and they will accept the split on the back end for the crop. Next year, the crops go in, beautiful crops all across the field. 3 a.m., all of the crops on fucking fire.
Damn, that's typical of them.
Next year roll around. Don't worry about the fire last year. We'll just roll it into next year's payment. That's how we got the plantations. Sweetheart swindles. The plantations wasn't a big house. It was Big Mama house. Until this new slickster from Europe rolled in, married her, and poisoned her to death. The tribes, when they do that, that's only to give it back to the daughters of the father whose children it was. They didn't take the land for selfishness. They tried to keep the land in the family at all costs.
Oh, they do that in Africa. I'm sorry. I had to
Look, so what they doing, who is allowed to levy the tax on the land?
Who's allowed to levy the tax?
You have to be the one that's holding the title to the land. You can't tax a land that's not under some kind of title treaty.
Right. Oh, okay.
This is the law of the landlords. The landlords came from Europe. They didn't come from over here. And they use barristers to do their bookkeeping.
They're doing it right now.
They've been doing it the whole time.
Right
now. This is what I'm trying to get us to see. All of this admiralty jurisdiction, nationality is the law of the flag, the law of the high seas. This is why a ship has a nationality, and all of the people have to have a nationality. Disregard your
really.
As long as you paying taxes on a piece of property, you're not the rightful owner.
That's right.
You're the renter. You're the tenant. This is part of the squatter rights. This is what they use in the squatter rights in the treaties.
Yeah, man.
Look, the only reason why, listen, go back to Martin Luther King explaining to us how they brought the peasantry from Europe and undergird them with a financial floor to mechanize their farms. Just because that's just the floor. The floor is still on top of the land. So the whole time they can use the land. Some of the farmers are now being paid not to farm. Been doing it for over 100 years. I got you all this farmland, but I'm gonna pay you not to farm nothing. Right? That's because they need to control the output of the food resource. So all of this goes back to the eminent domain of the squatter right for the squatters to secure a piece of land.
That's what I
from the landlords who came from Europe. And the landlords is operating under false pretenses of being our government under the color of law. That's not us. The person asked the question, how do you claim your land back when it's communities on them? We work with the community. We don't displace people in our culture. We work with the people that's in the community to restructure the community and allocate resources. When the big mamas is back in charge, it's about making sure everybody got food, clothing, and shelter.
Right.
It ain't got nothing to do with I'm gonna bully you off the land because I don't think you're supposed to be here. It's about the return of the resources back to the people from a government that sucked all of the people's resources out.
We don't stick together.
This is the crystal globe. We looking at have and have nots in the New World Order. We chose not to be the have nots, so we took it all. By blood and by right. We was born with the right to restore the balance back to the people and the lands. All we got to do is put Big Mama back on her seat and go about our business, everything will fall in place according to the laws of nature. These contracts, that's what they use to enforce their jurisdictional authority to govern what you do on your land. They make you sign an adhesion contract. Most people don't know when they do their mortgage contract that they sign in the agreement to follow what's the homeowners association of the area. They don't tell you if you don't read it for yourself, right? They're not gonna tell you what you have, why you got to pay taxes. They gonna tell you it's to supply the services of the local government. That's supposed to be paid from out of DC and the capital of the state. Not supposed to be paid for by